Yo. Don't you just love this time of year? There we are. Alright, so yeah, obviously the Christmas season is upon us once again, and I promised that I would review a few Christmas horror films this year, and earlier this month I reviewed Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. I previously reviewed the first film, like maybe 3 years ago. It was one of the first reviews I did on this channel. So I wanted to do the second film. I've been planning on it for years. I wanted to do it at Christmas time, which I did. I have no desire to review any more of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. 3, 4, and 5, they're not that good, so I'd pass, honestly. I'd skip over those. They don't really follow the whole Billy, Ricky, Killer Santa storyline quite as much. But yeah, I promised the other main Christmas horror film I would get to is Black Christmas. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the 1974 Christmas horror film Black Christmas, directed by Bob Clark. I had this on DVD for years, and this isn't a very good release. I think this is not a very good transfer. Not really many extra features or anything. So, but luckily, I recently got it on Blu-ray. I upgraded. So, I love Scream Factory. Don't you? They're just so awesome. Yeah, if this movie doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight. That's right. There's the, as usual, Scream Factory releases. There's the original VHS cover and original poster artwork. And also, it's a two-disc set, so got some special features as well. So if you're a fan of this movie, or if you're a fan of horror movies, or horror movies taking place during the holidays especially, definitely pick up this release. It's well worth it. Alright, anyway, let's look at the story. Let's look at the movie. Black Christmas. It's probably one of the earliest Christmas horror films. This came out a good decade before Silent Night, Deadly Night, and they did a lot of Killer Santa movies. This one doesn't have a Killer Santa, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of those, like, in the 80s. Yeah, anyway, as I said, it was directed by Bob Clark, who also did Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, another good horror film. He also did Porky's 1 and 2, and another really well-known Christmas movie, A Christmas Story. That's right, the director of Black Christmas directed A Christmas Story. Bet you didn't know that. Maybe you did, I don't know. Anyway, it stars Olivia Hussey, who was also in Psycho 4 and Stephen King's It. Margot Kidder from the Amityville Horror and the Superman movies. She was Lois Lane. And John Saxon, one of my favorites, from Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy's dad, Lieutenant Thompson. Yeah, he's just awesome. He's great in everything he's in. But anyway, what's the movie about? Well, it's about a deranged killer who makes obscene, threatening phone calls before stalking and murdering a group of sorority sisters while hiding in their attic of their sorority house during the holiday season. And that's basically it. Yeah, the killer is very mysterious. He's never seen. We only hear his voice. We see his hands. And we even see a close-up of his eyeball at one point. And his shadow, of course. His full face is never seen. His full figure is never shown, which makes him all the more creepy and menacing. And he identifies himself as Billy. But we don't even know if that's his real name. He says, "It's me, Billy," when he's stalking his victims. And he is one of the creepiest and most disturbing psychos I've ever seen in a horror movie, for sure. He constantly changes his voice, and he makes really nasty and over-the-top, vulgar phone calls with sorority sisters before he kills them, like with over-the-top sexual talk and like obscene gestures, and his voice is like constantly changing. Almost sounds like it's like 4 or 5 different people trying to talk at the same time. So he's probably got like schizophrenia or split personality or something. Very deeply disturbed individual, and we never find out who he is. We don't know who this guy is. Is he an escaped mental patient? Is he a former lover of one of the girls in the house, or what? Like, who the hell is he? There's a lot of red herrings. Well, a few red herrings tossed our way. So, and there's even a case of wrongfully accused in this movie. They think that somebody is the killer. Turns out he's not. and a pretty shocking, unsettling ending. The final frame is pretty pretty startling, to say the least. But yeah, as I said, yeah, the killer's really nasty and vulgar, and just we never see him, but like we kind of get to know what kind of person he is through his talking. You hear his voice an awful lot when he makes the phone calls. A lot of people probably think that, especially today's generation, probably think that Scream was the first movie to have the killer telephone his victims first, but no, man. Black Christmas did it way before, and then of course like Don't Answer the Phone and movies like When a Stranger Calls and stuff. Hell, even Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason called Alice before he came and shoved a knife into her temple. At least I think it was him that called. But anyway, yeah, very, very creepy killer. One of the best ones one of the best villains I've seen in the slasher movie, even though we don't really get to see him. It's weird because he even seems a little less human than Michael Myers at some points, even though he does talk quite a bit. But yeah, he's just really, really like insane, really out there, very wicked. He's definitely what makes the movie for me, because honestly, the lead characters don't really stand out a lot. They don't really have much personality. They're not like really very well developed. Except for maybe Margot Kidder as Barb, who's like the kind of drunk, trash talking sorority sister. She's kind of funny actually. She's always like going on a drunken ramble, and she's always like cussing people out and talking down to them. I kind of liked Barb. She was kind of the only ones who I really felt anything for this movie. The rest of them were just like victims. I was just waiting for them to die, pretty much. But yeah, Billy, the killer, I guess is his name. He always talks about Agnes. He always mentions somebody named Agnes, and says, I'm Billy. Or Agnes, it's me, Billy. They'll never find out what we did. He's just really, really sick. And it's kind of implied that he's kind of a rapist, too. He says really, really vulgar sexual things to the girls when he prank calls them before before slaying them. So yeah, we don't really know, like, just some really deranged guy messing around or some kind of prank, but he does murder them in pretty creative ways, including a suffocation with a plastic bag, a slashing with a hook, even a bludgeoning with a fireplace poker. So yeah, some pretty clever ways to off his victims in this movie as well. And that was the highlight for me. But yeah, it's a very dark, bizarre film, and the insane killer who is really, really is one of the creepiest and most disturbing I've seen in a movie for sure. I love Christmas horror movies. I think there should be more of them. We have like the Tales from the Crypt segment and All for the House. There's a recent one called Better Watch Out that I watched. There was an 80s movie with that title too. I think they actually changed the name to All a Good Night. There's also Don't Open Till Christmas and Christmas Evil. Lots of good Christmas horror movies. I need to get to review them all, but a lot of those I don't have fresh in my mind. I need to give them a watch before I get to them. Might be next year. I don't know if I'm going to do more Christmas horror movies this year, but definitely Black Christmas and Silent Night Deadly Night 2 were at the top of my list. These were the main priorities, and I'm glad I got these. Got a chance to review these for sure. So these are the important ones. Black Christmas and Silent Night Deadly Night 2. And this is a much better movie than the Silent Night Deadly Night movies, which I love. I love those movies. They're a little more fun and more cheesy. This one's taken a little more serious, It has some comedic moments. Some of the things the killer says is kind of funny, and of course Margot Kidder is Barb once again. But it's taken very seriously. It's done in a very, very dark and very gritty way. That final frame, man, it gets me every time. Gotta love it. And yeah, Bob Clark directed it too, so do with that what you will. Lots of good Christmas horror movies. This is probably the best. This is probably my favorite Christmas horror film. It's definitely the equivalent, the Christmas equivalent to John Carpenter's Halloween, I would say. This came out before Halloween, once again, so, there's movies like Psycho and Peeping Tom, which were highly influential to the slasher genre, but I think movies like Black Christmas really paved the way and really made the slasher films what they are, This is the movie. This is one of the movies that started all those same tropes and cliches you find in other slasher films. Although it's done really well here. I will say this is a very good film. I'd say it's excellent. I'd say it's a masterpiece. it is kind of slow, and there's a lot of talking. There's a lot of like scenes that are like supposed to build suspense, but they kind of dragged on a little too much. Again, I didn't really care outside of Barb and maybe what's his name, the main guy. I can't think of the guy's name. He has like a weird last name, DeLeo or something. Yeah, the main guy. Outside of them, I didn't really think of the characters were interesting. Olivia Hussey's character was good. John Saxon wasn't really in it enough to make much of an impression, but you know, this is before he was in Nightmare on Elm Street too. So yeah, some of the characters they weren't really that developed or interesting. So I didn't really care what happened to anybody. They kind of made the suspense and the stalk scenes a little underwhelming. Yeah, there's some POV shots too. You know, again that predated Halloween. You know, and a lot of like stalk sequences and exposition. But again, yeah, some of it did drag on a little too much for my taste. But the clever kills and the really well developed, well done killer. Although we know nothing about him, he's mysterious. But like we kind of got to know him through his verbalizations at the same time. Made it all worth it. So yeah, I definitely check it out. I highly recommend Black Christmas. If you love horror films, you love slasher films, especially ones with a holiday theme, this is among the very best. So I highly recommend you check it out. You'll be glad that you did. I'm Hellhound, and I want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas. And I'll try to be watching some more Christmas horror films around before the holiday season's over, and maybe I'll get to review a few of them too. Yeah, as I said, I'd like to get to Christmas Evil and you know, To All a Good Night and Don't Open Till Christmas. Those are probably the top three, other than Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 and Black Christmas, that I'd like to review for the holidays. But I don't know whether I'll get to them or not. But I am planning on seeing Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, tonight, and I will let you guys know what I think about it. You'll be the first to know. So I hope it's good. I really do. I hope it's good. I hope they don't kill off any more of my favorite characters. So, you know, because that is going to really irk me. Although I guess they kind of have to kill off Princess Leia, since unfortunately Carrie Fisher died around this time last year too. I might add, it was around it was this same month last year, so it's been a year since she's gone. Very tragic. But anyway, guys, yeah, I'll let you know what I think about the new Star Wars movie. If not tonight, then probably tomorrow. And once again, check out Black Christmas. You'll be glad you did. And I want to wish you guys a very happy holidays from me to you. Keep it horror.